Thank you, everyone, for being here for this episode of Realty today. I am super thrilled to have a special guest with us today. We actually, I suppose, are two guests today. I am now one of the guest hosts for Realty with Gibson Sothebys International Realty. My name is Aimee Rideout. I am the Senior Vice President at the company, overseeing our relocation and referrals division. I am super thrilled. One of my biggest passions within the company, within the brand, is the relationships and the connections that we get to forge at Sothebys International Realty. So I, of course, have the distinct pleasure of interviewing an incredible broker owner from within our brand. I'm here today with Danielle Konechne from Grand Sothebys International Realty in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, one of our newest states. I thank you, Danielle, for being here today.
I'm super excited to be here today and just kind of talk about our area, what's happening in the Midwest, and promote Grand in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yes, and I think to really kick off the conversation, I would love to give some background to who you are, how you got involved with the brand, and your story from a company perspective to set the stage for this conversation.
Yes, this is my 20th year selling real estate, and I was able to get into real estate directly coming from the service when my service time ended in the Air Force and launched right into real estate. So I was very fortunate to have that happen at a young age, even though it didn't seem like it at the time. And I had a lot of awareness about the brand because I did sell in Manhattan and out in West Hampton. So I was very fortunate to even, kind of take that time to sell at West Hampton Estates and see the brand up from across the street. Sotheby's was literally down the street from us. And I realized the professionalism of their brand, the integrity of their brand. So when Sotheby's came to us, I already knew what we were getting into, which was a huge benefit to being able to jump on board with the brand.
I love that. It's something that we often hear is just like the brand is that aspirational moment in a lot of brokerage or brokers' careers and in a lot of agents' careers. It's something that you see from a distance. You watch that performance, that integrity, the legacy that Sotheby's International Realty brings to the table, and see that that's like a moment you might aspire to have as a part of your journey one day.
Absolutely. When Sotheby's reached out to us, they're a huge brand on the coast. If you are from the coast or lived on the coast, you know the brand inside and out. I mean, it is very clear what the brand is. When they reached out to us, we actually thought it was a joke because I was like, why would Sotheby's come to the Midwest? As we started getting involved with the brand and meeting with people, it became very clear why they are coming to, middle America, which is huge for us. I mean, this is a dream come true for me. Absolutely.
I love that. And I think one of the things that we really wanted to help kind of have as part of this conversation today is you, of course, saw that value and the why behind bringing the brand into your market. And how was, in terms of your community perception in helping those locally understand the value of Sotheby's International Realty, how did that start for you and your team?
Well, it's very interesting. I knew the brand. I love the brand. It was a dream come true for me. So it was a no brainer to like franchise with the brand. When we brought it down to the client level, I am an owner broker. However, I am full time sales as well. So I do both. And so not only did I have to make the decision for our team and our leadership, I had to make the decision for our clients and what they were going to benefit from. We were courted by other companies to brand with them. And I kept saying, they have a great brand. However, if it was Sotheby's, I would say yes. Because as we would start to research these companies, there was no added value to the client. So we would get a brand, we get a logo. Yeah, that's great. We get some systems. There was no added value to the client and how they were going to benefit from us franchising. So it was always like, okay, we need to remain our focus on the client and what they're getting because the market's changing. So when we disseminated the information and we're a little over a year in officially launched, there's still a lot of confusion. In our local area, people always ask us, what is Sotheby's? So there's a huge educational opportunity for us to go, hey, I love that you asked that question. Or I had a lunch with a client the other day and they go, so do you work for multiple companies or what do you actually do now? And that's the opportunity to explain to people, hey, it seems like I work for multiple companies because our exposure is so large now that we have a global company instead of a local company. And it just gives us the opportunity to encourage them that luxury real estate and Sotheby's is about an experience. It's not about a price point. Yeah, we're a luxury company, and that comes with a lot of service. It doesn't matter what price point you're at. And here's what the brand stands for. And this is what you get with the marketing and the processes and their reputation. So, a little more education than I really knew that we were getting into. But I love to talk about the brand. I love to talk about how it benefits them.
Yeah, I think it's so many things that you said there in terms of just like having that confidence for you in articulating the value, the value for your clients, the value for your business to so everyone can really understand what's being gained by partnering with the brand, but also being able to confidently articulate the distinction of you are still locally owned and operated, you are still driving the company from a decision making perspective. It still has the same heart and culture behind it, but now you have that increased power from the Sotheby's International Realty brand, the network, the marketing. There's so much more to offer your clients. So it really is, it's an enhancement, and being able to share that with your community, I know must be really the power behind helping tell that story.
It is so next level. It's really hard to describe. I was educated all of last year as we were implementing the company. It's really hard to explain to a client or anybody in general what I have been learning over an entire year, the benefits. It's a system, it's a reputation, a global network that immediately raises the ceiling of what's possible here locally. And as our market's maturing, I could see where our marketplace was going. And we needed something that had more than just our local advertising reach. 50% of the business we were doing is coming in and out of the state. Well, if we can only market locally, that really limits, the exposure for our sellers trying to sell. Or if the client's moving out of state, we don't have anybody to send them to. We just had so many limitations. Now we have all the resources and our clients feel it because when marketing's taken care of, branding's taken care of, systems are taken care of, the referral network's taken care of, I can directly work with them and be a huge advocate and they feel that intention. So it's been a more enjoyable process for them.
And I'd love to dig a little deeper into that, the concept of the breadth of your reach and how that extended, how that became a benefit to your clients. Of course, I love nothing more than to talk about the global network at Sotheby's International Realty, but it is what you said there was the value that that network can have for your listings, for your clients and the homes that you're trying to sell. It's not necessarily just about the referral business. That piece we'll get into a little bit, but it's about that the from a relationship perspective, the network comes into play as from a marketing perspective as well. I'd love to hear how you have been leaning into the marketing and the network from a listing perspective.
Well, it feels like I don't have to put forth forward momentum. It's really crazy how nobody told us how this network really worked. I mean, we were very under promised. Sotheby's over delivered. We got way more than we anticipated, expected. And what happened was is people came in and started helping us and teaching us. So one of the things that's really different is I have a very high end listing and we pulled the data on it, the most likely areas that counties that property would have a buyer come from. And it's amazing to have all that data. However, the owner of LA company called me directly and said, and this is one of the top 10 companies or referral areas where a buyer would come out of. He said, can you present Sioux Falls in this listing to our company? So the next day I'm on a call with 100 agents out of California, exposing them to this listing. It's just very different than how we had marketed before. It's just a whole different category. When I went down to the global networking event with Sotheby's, uh, back in October, a year and a half ago. I went down there. We didn't know a whole lot about the brand. We just knew about the brand that we've been exposed to thus far, but we didn't know how it operated. As soon as we started going to breakfast with people, we were engaging with other agents from around the United States and around the globe. And I already had two referrals from the Sothebys International Realty Network before I left G&E. We've never had we've been part of other franchises and we've never had a referral network that actually provided referrals.
That's incredible. And that piece, I always emphasize that it's the relationships first and the referrals will follow. And I think that's what sounds like exactly what you experienced at the global networking event is that when you are sitting down and breaking bread with the top talent in the industry from within Sotheby's International Realty at these events, you're talking about your market, you're talking about your lives, you're developing a connection that's just it's deeper than what others experience because you're taking that time to invest in it. But also then when it comes time to like have a potential referral opportunity or to collaborate, and when you're leaning into a new business idea, you might want to pick someone's brain and you have that trust and that confidence because you've taken the time to get to know that person and you have a better sense for who they are and how they operate. And I feel like that is one of the best gets kept secrets in a sense. I feel like it's hard to explain the reality of the connections and the value they add to your business until you experience it. And it's amazing to hear how you had that immediate aha moment when you went to that global networking event.
Well, and it's the brand. It's the brand. Sotheby's is their realty department is so intentional and they set everything up for a purpose. So if you're going to G&E in San Francisco and you're skipping breakfast, kiss your referrals goodbye. That's where they are setting you up to eat with people, get to know them, break bread with them, like you're saying. When I talk about how intimate this company is, they brought us out to a leadership event. I know almost all the owners nationally and globally. When my clients talk about, hey, I want to buy a property down in Turks and Caicos, wonderful. I would love to connect you with the owner or one of their agents because I know them. Not we have a company there. I know them. I have a relationship with them. We've spent time together. I know how they operate their business. So it's just a very different feeling. It's very intimate. This company is very hands-on and very intentional, which is just a huge benefit of being part of SIR.
And from that perspective of looking at the referrals as that like a layer of service to your clients that you are now able to offer where you have those strong connections in markets, can be that much more confident in having that conversation and bringing up where might you have real estate in other markets or where might you be dreaming of owning a vacation home, and can I help you make that and make an introduction. What's I know you've mentioned since being with Sotheby's International Realty, you've conducted business from an outbound referral perspective. How have you been approaching that in your client conversations?
It's really because our company, the way that we do business and Sotheby's International Realty are in complete alignment. And it's because of how they do business and where we're headed. So I'm not interested in being a transactional real estate agent. I have no desire. I have no desire to have a transactional real estate company. I'm interested in advocacy, precision, a process that feels calm and structured and elevated. We're not trying to make more noise. We're trying to provide more quality to our community, to our clients, and to the global network as a whole. So I think that when we're meeting with our clients, we're talking about what's happening with their estate, what their future plans are, what their dreams are. And we're finding out, hey, when I call them, hey, how are you doing? How are things going? They're saying, well, in about 2 or 3 years, we're thinking about moving to Alabama. We're going down to Florida. We want a place down in Puerto Rico. We want a place down in Arizona. Great. I have agents in that area. Can I make an introduction? So when you are ready, and then that agent can also start sending them information so they can make a great decision when they do finally decide to move. I think the idea of in our marketplace is that people don't travel, and it's the complete opposite. There's tons of people coming here from out of state because they're curious about our area, and once they get here, they stay. And there's a lot of people traveling, moving, having second or third homes in other parts of the world.
And to also give more context to that, I think one of the pieces I wanted to be sure we are emphasizing in the conversation is that this opportunity exists no matter the price point, no matter the market. And I think it would be helpful for our listeners to understand what your market looks like from a data perspective in terms of the average price point you might be serving.
Yeah, the average price points, are around 350,000. I just went out to an event with the network out in Virginia, and it's fun to compare what luxury is in other areas. However, there's a lot of education that needs to be done in our local area. People kind of rebuttal, hey, we don't really need a luxury company here. Well, in South Dakota or in Sioux Falls specifically, luxury starts at 750,000. It's very different than other markets, where people can see some of the stuff on our website and they go, "Oh my gosh, there's a $10 million home in Florida," or, a $20 million property in New York. We don't have anything like that here. We are getting those higher price points, but the thing that we need to educate people on is it's luxury is not a price point. It's a level of service. It's a level of professionalism. It's a level of advocacy for that client. And the benefit of being part of this company is every single client of mine, if you have a $300,000 home or a $3 million home, you get the same level of marketing. You get the same level of service. You get the exact same process. You get to come out with the same, photographer, videos, the same quality because that's what the brand demands. And there's no exceptions to that. So the client can be ensured I'm going to get the best level of service with the best marketing and not have to worry about anything else. All they have to worry about is cleaning up their home and selling it. Or, hey, my family needs to buy this home. Can you help us find it? It
Yeah.
just really simplifies the process.
And their home, it gets to be on sothebysrealty.com alongside so many other incredible properties. It gets that same exposure it deserves no matter what the price is, which is incredible that you see that value.
It is amazing. And I'll tell you, the fun part is that my clients will come to me and they go, "We feel kind of guilty. We feel kind of guilty that you're giving us this much exposure or advertising this much." And I'd love to say, well, yeah, no problem. But it's not me, it's the brand. The brand does it all for you.
And that's where I do feel that with the Sotheby's International Realty Network, the relationships we're talking about, the exposure, the just understanding feeder markets and where your buyers might be coming from, that is what the buyer for that property, yes, sure, they could be down the street, and that's great if they happen to see it. But what if they're somewhere far away and they have no idea it exists until it's out there in the world? So that's where the brand exposure that in our network really dials into those feeder markets, understanding whose eyes need to be on the property.
That has been really, as we were watching our marketplace mature and just seeing where the future is, Sotheby's International Realty is in direct alignment with where we want to go with our company in the future. Because if 50% of the buyers are coming from out of state, we need more than just local advertising. It's really hard to explain that to a community that's growing. There's a lot of, like I said, I keep saying over and over, there's a lot of education that's going into franchising with this company because there's so much to offer. And it's really hard to tell everybody, yeah, you get all of this because it sounds unbelievable, but it's the truth.
And emphasizing there that we didn't align with this brand to outgrow you. We're helping you also get to that next level. So I now have enhanced offerings that extend to you as a part of Sotheby's International Realty. We're not looking to move into a different market. We're not looking to work with different people. We're looking to elevate the service that we're providing to you from a client perspective.
Yes, the services, the marketing, the resources, because clients need more resources. So that's a whole part of it. And the brand doesn't replace hard work, it just multiplies it. So the clients know we're devoted, and the brand kind of transmutes that for us. If you're working with this brand, you know that this person's devoted to what they're doing as an advocate, as a real estate agent in our community.
And I'd love to dig into from that, the layer of the brand resources and more so from a professional development perspective. I know one of the things we've chatted about has been that the same way that you said your clients feel guilty about taking the attention from you and from the brand. And you've said, as a small company, I feel I'm getting so much attention. I gain so many resources at Sotheby's International Realty, it's that the
Mhm.
team that has now extended to you that you've gained from joining. I would love to have hear a little bit from you about what you've gained since joining Sotheby's International Realty from that professional development perspective, from the team perspective.
Yeah. So I think that the thing that was never promised and we were not aware of. And when we franchise, the amount of outreach from the community that came, not our community, the SIR community, that people were calling me going, "Hey, you know what? We just branded 3 years ago. Here's a stuck point for us. We've perfected that portion of implementation. Just call us and we'll walk you through it." So when you have all these things to do, starting a company and adopting all their resources and all their platforms and all the assets was a lot of work. Most of the owners said like, "Hey, it's going to take 2 years of a lot of hard work, but it's going to pay off tremendously." Well, it was hard work. However, I feel like anytime I got stuck, our leadership would say, "Hey, call this person." And then they just skate us through it. It's just I've never had so many resources. And the platforms work. We've been using platforms that are third parties for years and we can't ever get them to work well. We found that some of these platforms are created by agents, so they're seamless. And it makes the job enjoyable when something works for you. It sounds simple, but it's just very fun to be able to use it and implement it. And then our clients benefit from it.
I love that. It's from the systems to the people. It's just there's so much to there's so much from like that. I always say the brain comes at any layer of our business from that abundance mindset that we learn in our ninja selling. But it's that everyone is so open to sharing and collaboration. It's the like here, like it's not just let's have a quick conversation. It's like you can entirely cheat off of my paper right now. I'm going to give you my presentation. I'm going to give you my deck on this specific issue that
Oh,
we had.
I just went to Ninja and I gotta brag about this guy,
Eh,
Brandon, that was there. It's just a testament to he's out of Atlanta. He owes nobody anything. And he was like, first of all, gave everybody this book. Like, "Hey, this book has been a game changer for me." Just showed up to this place with, I don't know, 30 to 50 agents. I don't know how many were there. And gave everybody a book that he thought would benefit them. Then at the end of it, he's like, "I thought my processes are really wrapped up and on par. I love a process. I love systems. So our systems are really tight. So everything gets done perfectly." He was like, "Hey, here's my whole systems and processes," and just handed it over to us. And there were things I didn't even know that were going to make my processes better. And I took them and implemented them. How amazing. This guy owes me nothing. And he just
yeah.
was like, "Here you go." And so I've adopted a few of his things and implemented it into our process. And I thought, wow, that just made the client's experience that much better, that much easier.
Hmm.
And that's the beauty of this network. Everybody's so giving. How can I help you? What do you need to implement? Who can I connect you with? And it just like all your resources are set up for you on a platter.
1,000%. I feel like that's often the feedback we receive the most when someone is joining our brand is that layer of being blown away when they attend their first event, be it a ninja installation, a global networking event, an affiliate hosted networking event. They're having these conversations with people about ideas and concepts, and instead of like this is a passing conversation, we're going to move on, they're met with, let me get your contact information. I'll just drop you these files right now before you walk away, because we all see that value at Sotheby's International Realty of the rising tide lifts all ships. We can all grow and enhance one another's businesses together. No one is losing by sharing with one another. We're all gaining together. We're all growing together. And I feel like that that concept that really resonates across the network. And it's incredible to hear those stories when someone is new to the brand and how you experience that directly at that ninja installation.
Well, and the trickle down is amazing because when other people are franchised, I'm like, "How can I help you? What do you need?" Everybody did it. The people before me did it to me. I want to make sure that I take care of other people as well. How can I contribute to the network? It's made me really want to pour back into a company when they've poured so much into me.
100%. To kind of shift gears, round out our conversation a bit and really dial into one last layer to that global referral network in terms of inbound business and how you approach creating opportunities for yourself within your market. What is your strategy behind leaning into the network to gain potential business on in South Dakota?
So that's another way of it's like a whole nother pillar of business we didn't really have before. So it's an intentional, they say go out for your feeder markets. We don't have data on what our feeder markets are. However, we know from a lot of clients coming in and out which area they're going to. So we are developing relationships with those people, getting on Zoom calls, hearing about their area, how they do business, what's the best way for a handoff for a referral, and participating in stuff. There's lots of calls you can join within the network. There's coaching calls, there's just miscellaneous, social media stuff. And you start to know the agents on there. And if you connect with somebody, get offline and build that connection or that relationship with them. So that's how it just being plugged into the network is how I've been getting business incoming referrals.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to give you a little shout out too on that in terms of how you are engaging and like really leaning in. It's building the relationships in anticipation of the business that will come, of course. And like you said, developing relationships in other markets, really putting yourself out there within the brand to learn, but also to make sure they realize who you are and where you are. And I know that you recently joined the board for the Women Empowered Network, one of our Sotheby's International Realty affinity groups, and those are such key ways. And not only are you now showing up for that, you're really showing up in supporting that the whole system and how it operates, and really helping empower other women within Sotheby's International Realty to be a part of that group by helping that engine run. So shout out to you for giving that time and energy and making that commitment, but also for seeing that opportunity as a value to your business. It's showing up and building those relationships within the brand and learning from one another. I know you're on a call coming up with that Women Empowered Network, but it's recognizing the value that has for your business and to your local market by being present in these rooms where you're just that iron sharpens iron concept. You're learning from one another. You're gaining so much just by being present.
I think there's multiple layers. If you're plugged into the network, you're going to, acquire business and referrals. So they're not going to refer you business if they don't know you. So you need to plug in. And then also, you become the people you surround yourself with. And the more that I meet agents and owners in this network, this is who I want to spend my time with. They have the same core values, they have the same professionalism. I've never met a more professional group of real estate agents. We've been in groups for 20 years, going to conventions and speakers and coaching events and all these things. We have top tier agents and I love to be around them. I love to connect with them. So yeah, the iron sharpens iron, and who you spend your time with, you become. These are my people.
I love this so much. Just to have two really like closing thoughts to leave our audience with today. Looking back at all that you've gained from being a part of Sotheby's International Realty, how you have navigated that transition, that transformation. What would you say to someone that is sitting in that place right now of luxury? You're too luxury for my market. This brand doesn't fit my clientele, doesn't fit the market that I serve. What would you say to someone who has that thought as their obstacle currently?
If that was their situation, I'd have a lot of questions. Like, what do you think luxury is? What are your clients' needs? What client doesn't want an advocate or an agent that answers their phone or that has top tier marketing that nobody can touch? I think there was like a stat that 42 million people in 2025 were on the sothebysrealty.com website. I would have a lot of questions, I think, because when we went to G&E, we had already been, tried to be recruited by other companies. And we would always ask the company for referrals. And we would call the other owners and say, hey, what do you think about this company? And they'd say, yeah, here's the pros and cons. When we went to G&E, we met owner after owner after owner, and they kept saying, it's life changing. It's life changing. And we were going, what do they feed these people or tell these people? And now that you're in it, it's hard for me to sit on this podcast with you, Aimee, and explain the network and the benefits. We're still finding out what the benefits are. We're still finding out how massive the impact is to our clients. So it's hard to say I know everything because I'm slowly learning more and more opportunities are out there for us. As our business is growing and we're needing different things, we're like, and this is available, and this is available. So I would just say the brand is really a gift. And if there is an agent struggling with a decision or an owner struggling with a decision, I just have a lot of questions because there's a tremendous amount of offerings for your clients. And there are some what I'm finding there are some people who don't want to offer, and that's okay, but then that's not a brand fit. So it is challenging in this industry. There are people who want to be transactional. It just boggles my mind. There's a small percentage of people that you want to fit your brand. I would just have a lot of questions, but this is not for everybody. And that's okay. Not everybody wants a lot of marketing and help and assistance. They don't want to change. They don't want to be professional. And that's okay too.
Yeah, it's knowing what is your next step that you're looking for. Is it that growth? Is it really leveling up and enhancing what you offer? And if that's the case, this is a great fit for you. If you're open to contributing that energy, investing that time into these relationships and the network and getting to know what really that value of the brand is, it's a tremendous offering. And I love that you said you're like the to see the excitement that you have around the Sotheby's International Realty brand and what it offers. And then to hear you say, I know that I don't know everything yet and I have so much more to learn. It does go to show you there is tremendous value to be had. And it takes so much time to gain it all, but to hear your excitement and have you say, that there's still more is a testament to Sotheby's International Realty brand network marketing and everything that that has to offer.
Yeah, and not to go on and on and on about the brand because I could talk to you for days. But once you get in the boat, you're just going to be coasting because everything's going to happen organically for you. And people told us that, and we did not believe it. But in our agents, Dana, for example, she's always had business from past clients. She's never had referral business from her sphere. And last year alone, 30% of her business came from her sphere. So just knowing that the brand's there, um, giving you more business, how can you say no to that? Just last year, in 1 year, we've only been here since we branded in February of 2025. So we're just a year. We're a baby company. We're the smallest company that's, I think, Sotheby's International Realty has. My list price last year average went from 450,000 to 1.2 million. All these things happened organically. We didn't have to do anything different. We had to implement what Sotheby's had to offer, but that's really it.
That's incredible, and congratulations on that. That brand recognition really it can have so much power in amplifying what you're already offering and just sharpening your value proposition that much more. So it's incredible to hear about those sphere of influence referrals as well as the how it leveled up your price point. It's just those tangible business results are so powerful.
It's amazing, and it's just a testament to what we're doing here today. On a podcast with you, if we wouldn't have connected at leadership, we wouldn't have this opportunity. The opportunities just keep coming. You just have to take them.
And if we could have done this in that same setting in Dana Point, I might have preferred that, but I am also super grateful that we had that time together in person because it's those moments that you don't realize like what that ripple effect will be moving forward. It's bump into someone in the hallway, you say, "I think I'm supposed to get to know you. Why don't we have lunch today?" And then all of a sudden, months later, here we are continuing that conversation because there is so much value in us sharing with one another. It's just leaning in, really.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I appreciate this opportunity. I'm so excited to be on this podcast with you. So thank you for everything. It's just great to connect with you and anybody else that's viewing this.
Thank you so much for your time today. We were super excited to have you here on the Realty Podcast, and I look forward to continuing this conversation.
Wonderful. I'm excited.